Okay. Um, Before we jump in, this has nothing to do with anything except a one of the random Rafer blurbs before we jump into this. So my background on my computer changes every 5 minutes, and I've realized sometimes during this study that like it's changing real fast, and that I'm not paying attention to the time. I was like, man, it's changing again. That was fast. Like while I'm actively talking. So now I'm making a conscious effort to see when my background on my computer changes so I can be quiet. So just so y'all know that. Um, so if I just like stop talking all of a sudden, that's because I was talking for 5 minutes at least, maybe 10. I don't know. Maybe it was 10 and it changed twice and I just realized it the second time. I don't know. Okay. So we finished chapter 4 this week. And we are in the chapter titled Unholy Gods, Idolatry. So last week we were talking about how idols altogether, whether they are what we would deem good things, most of the time we deem idols bad things, um, like her example of the Israelites making a golden statue. Um, oh, I left my water. Will you grab my water, please? Thank you so much. I got a burp stuck. Appreciate it. Um, but yeah, the Israelites making the golden calf. And it's obvious and very easy to look at that and go, well, why would they do that? How could they do that? God literally just delivered them from Egypt. I would not turn my back on God. I would not create an idol in that moment. But crazy part about that is we do today. A lot of times they may not necessarily be again. I mean, I don't think any of us has ever just made a golden calf, but there are things that not just take precedent, but legitimately that we hope to receive the things that only God can give. And so, again, sitting in churches, we tend to talk to people and we say, hey, um, I don't know, stop sinning, like don't watch TV. TV's your idol. So then people were like, man, I got to cancel Netflix now. Well, good. I'm a Christian. I was going to cancel Disney Plus anyway. Okay. Okay. Anyway, but I go on the flip side of that, there are good things that we have in our lives that can become idols and things that we are now looking to give us things that only God can give. So we went through the list of things like for those of us who are married, my marriage, my spouse, my children, if I have them, all of those things, again, nobody would say are bad things. And nobody would say that they are bad things to put above everything else in your life. But the thing is, when I am now expecting my spouse or my kids to fulfill me, now I'm putting something on them that was not meant for them to carry. And that is when they have become an idol. That is when the things of my life have become the idol. If I am showing up here because, oh, it's Sunday, it's church, this is what we have to do, this is what we need to do because church will fulfill me. Well, it's not church that fulfills me, it's only God that can actually satisfy. And so when we take this turn, that is when something becomes an idol. And I think the last thing we read last week at the bottom of 92, she said, to hope in anything that has been made to be a deliverer, whether it's sex, a relationship, a job, money, an identity, alcohol, or whatever it is to become as ignorant as the idol itself. So she makes a really great point that whatever the idol is, at the end of the day, even if it is a human being, they cannot do all that God can do for you. And what you're actually looking for in them or in that thing, it will never actually be able to give you what you are looking for, which is why we walk around as defeated Christians, because Jesus literally came to change the whole game. And we're like, it's cool, I'll pass. I have these things, just like the Israelites did in the desert. That makes sense? All right. So we pick up on top of 93, and she says, another trait of idols that we do well to pay attention to is the way the moral compass of anyone who worships them swings. And I put a bracket on this because I wanted to sit in this for a little bit, probably 2 background changes on my computer. Let me read that one more time. Another trait of idols that we do well to pay attention to is the way the moral compass of anyone who worships them swings. So, I was thinking about this morning, and just that idea of the moral compass of someone who is worshiping something other than God. Again, going back to chapter 1 or 2, where she talks about the commandments, where God says not to have any other gods before me. He doesn't say don't have any other gods before me because he needs the ego boost or because he just wants people to worship him. He says don't have any other gods before me because he knows that nothing else can give you all that he can actually give you. So he would not be God if he said, go ahead, have other idols before me or have other gods before me. That would be messed up. He's a legitimate, loving father who's like, hey, I'm the best thing that you'll ever experience. So let me just give a command that will point back to me because I'm going to give you everything that you could ever have. So knowing that and trusting in that and operating in that and living in that, my life now looks more settled. That makes sense? My life is a lot more settled because he is the foundation of what and why and how I do. So when she says that another trait to look at for people who have idols other than God being the only thing, when we look at other people or when we look to other things, now because these things are moving, because these things don't actually hold a standard, because these things can't actually give me peace, because these things can't actually save me, because these things can't actually hear my prayer, because it can't answer my prayer, I now sit in a place where now I am flowing and moving with any and everything. And then we wonder again, how come my life is crazy? How come I feel out of whack? How come I feel lost? How come I feel like something is missing? And I go, for most people, you don't have the vantage point of sitting here. So I get to have the conversations with all the different people. And I go, I have the conversation with people who are like, yo, what if this, and this about the Bible? What if the Bible said this instead? I have one, I'm like, Jesus, why do I have to have these conversations? Like, that's all. One, I think that's a ridiculous question. But two, I get to see this in real time. And I kid you not, the hardest thing is trying to convince someone or show them that where their trust lies is not in Jesus. It's the hardest thing. And I say it's the hardest thing because I'm still a human being. I'm a human being who doesn't want to hurt people's feelings. So when someone shows up and they go, yo, this is the deal, this is what's going on between me and this person, and this happened, and this happened. So they said this, I said this happened, boom, 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 boom. And I go, oh, because I'm outside of the situation, I can go, yo, this is where your hope is. This has become your idol. So that's why, because this is your idol, guess what? Every situation that you're in that looks like this, you always say the same thing. You always feel the same way about everybody else because your hope is in your validation from people. I am going to be validated by people. And if I'm not validated by people, then now I get to have the attitude and I get to tell them what they're doing wrong. It's like Jenny said last week. We take this parallel and we put ourselves on the throne. We make ourselves God and we say, you have to sacrifice to fit into my world. But now what happens is I have become the idol. And because I've become the idol, and some days I feel good, some days I don't feel good, some days I'm tired. Sometimes I wake up and I have all the energy in the world to do all the things. Sometimes I'm like, I'm over it. So if I am the idol and I feel this way from any moment, any given day, of course, how I respond to me, the idol, is going to waver back and forth. It's not going to feel settled. It's not going to feel like I'm solid, like I'm standing on a solid foundation. And I get to see this all the time. She said that, and I said, "Oh, dog." I said, "Jesus, this is true." I said, I legitimately get to see all the time where people present an issue, but because their trust is in that particular relationship to fulfill them, or their trust is in this thing to happen, when this happens, everything's gonna be good. My hope, I'm betting the house on this happening. And when this happens, I will be vindicated. I will show everybody that I am X, Y, and Z once this happens. And then it happens, and guess what? What do? We're like, oh, I mean, it was cool. I'm still not better because I put my hope in something that cannot actually answer that. And we sit there, man. We sit there and we sit and we wonder and we wonder and we wonder why. Where is God? Where is God? He didn't. And then we blame him. That's crazy, right? I'm the one making all the decisions. I'm making all the decisions. And when they don't work out, now it's God's fault because he didn't do something that I wanted him to do. When from the beginning, he would have done what I actually needed anyway. So here we are, tossed back and forth, double-minded. I think this day. I think this day. I'm moving back and forth. And I'm wondering where God is when he's the one that doesn't change. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's the one that doesn't change. I'm the one, literally. Let me be hungry, and now the world is going to end. It takes hunger for me to become a monster, and everything is God's fault. If I miss a meal, now it's his fault. That's literally how crazy we are. We change on a dime, man. On a dime. Walked into my kid's bathroom last night. The toilet had been re-rolled back onto the roll. You know those? Like it's all like down, so then you gotta like roll it back up, so it's all like puffy now. So you're mad. I'm mad because of toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm mad because of toilet paper. My whole day is ruined, and I'm supposed to be the one that I'm supposed to trust? Really? Toilet paper? There's a rapper. I've been waiting to pull this out. Show Barack. I don't need my phone. I have the whole internet right here on my computer. What's the name of that song? Piano Break. Yeah. The lyrics to his chorus of this song. He says, "Are we sinners in the hands of an angry God, Or is God being judged by a sinning mob? If God ain't good, I must have missed something. If God ain't good, I must have missed something. Are we made in the image of God, or is it God that's mimicking us? If I'm what's good, I must have missed something. If I'm what's good, I must have missed something. And we sit there, but we don't say the second part. We're like, well, yeah, I'm good. But we don't actually look at how we just sway and move and toss and jump instead of just being and trusting the God who does not change, the God who will deliver, the God who will bring peace, the God who will actually be all that he says he is every single time. I love that he says that if I'm what's good, I must have missed something. Okay, that was like 14 slide changes or background changes. Okay. There's a lot. This is one of those where I said I highlight whole pages. So it's like I just highlighted the whole thing, this whole page, and like all of this. So we're going to spend most of our time here today. She says, when the idols are made, when idols are made, collective, given attention, trusted, or loved, their integrity or ethical standards are rarely what qualifies them as worthy of our faith. Their integrity or ethical standard are rarely what qualifies them as worthy of our faith. The golden calf was invented and then expected to do something holy for Israel as opposed to being. Its value was contingent upon its ability to act on their behalf. Never is it mentioned by them in their initial planning of it or praised upon its completion that the calf was a holy one. And isn't that something? Every idol Israel or we gather to ourselves is a lawless one, with a standard that's easy enough to be kept and obeyed. Made by our own hands, idols image us in their godlessness. And this is one reason that we follow them. Because with all worship, there is a sacrifice, of course. But with idols, the demands that are made don't take an incarnation, death, nor resurrection for us to give it. There are no miracles involved in our obedience to an unholy God, because what they require of us, we need no help to yield. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago, the universe. Why people, oh yeah, I just speak into the universe and it's gonna come back. I gotta let the universe know what I need, what I want. The universe is gonna bring it back. Right? People sound crazy. People sound crazy. But here's the deal. One, it's just called work ethic. Like just go do it. Like it's America and we have the internet. You can do anything. Like, literally, you can do anything. These hands bake and vacuum. I changed my alternator last year myself. Thank you, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You can do anything. The universe gonna bring it back. But the universe, again, who's at the seat of that? I am. I'm at the center of that. And so what's crazy about that is I can put something into the universe, and because I'm at the center of it, I don't even have to sacrifice myself to go get it. Yeesh. I don't have to even discipline myself to go do something because me won't require that of me because that's uncomfortable. I get to be fat, happy, and lazy, waiting for the universe to bring me my 7 mil by April 23rd, 2023, dream house. You know what I'm saying? I tapped twice on the Instagram post. I saw the heart. It was like, boop. I said, oh, heck yeah, let's go. Bring it, universe. But you can't put yourself on a budget and just not spend your money. Because universe gonna bring me. I tapped the picture that had the money on it. And it was like, yo, next week it's coming. I'm locked in. But when I'm at the center of my universe, I don't and will not ever ask me to go do something that I don't want to do. It's easy. It's easy. So realistically, like she just said, the things that we idolize, the things that we make our idols, image us in their godlessness. Because God is what? Self-sacrificing. God is legitimately loving us unconditionally. God is always going to give first. And what don't we want to do? Those things. We don't want to. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Right. So we're still sowing. We're still doing. It's just not anything of value. So I wonder why every room I walk into, there's somebody that has a problem with me. Every time I'm in a different room, is somebody there who has a problem with me. Deanna looks so much like you. It's not even funny. Every single time. Do I not see that I am the common denominator? Do I not see that the things that I'm putting out legitimately is because the idol that I am giving my hope to, the idol that I'm giving my hope to is actually making me in its image. So I'm sowing and I'm sowing and I'm sowing, but I'm just reaping legitimately what I'm sowing. I love TV, and so I sit down and I do nothing, just waiting. And because that's what I give, guess what comes back? Nothing. I got a lot of useless facts from IMDb and Laker history. I'm watching a Winning Time right now on HBO Max. Really great show. That and Survivor. Those are like my two shows right now. But that's where I live. My hope is now legitimately, I'm just waiting for Jeff Probst to show up. And I don't know, snuff my torch. I don't even have one. Like, what is happening here? You got ridiculous thoughts happening, Rafer. But until I actually give something that is self-sacrificing, something that is unconditional, when I actually operate under the or in the image that God created me in, you ever notice the first inkling you have is to help somebody, is to give, some sacrificial love, is to give it's the first actual feeling you have. I should do that. And we shut that down so fast. Think about it. Oh, I should. Nah. That's the first thing. I should do this. And it's always something good. It is. It's something good. I should do this. No, says the idol that I have given myself to. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch TV because I'm tired. And I deserve to sit down and watch TV because I'm tired. That's a personal example. But because, and I've said this before, Rafer does not trust God to protect his energy. So Rafer goes outside of God to protect his energy, which then makes me what? Selfish. Literally, the other morning, I timed myself to see how fast it took to vacuum the living room. So I could know next time how long it takes. It was like 4 minutes. We got just a little bit of carpet, 4 minutes, man. That's like no time. And I know it was 4 minutes because I was in the middle of my workout and I was like, man, these kids and these crumbs. So I work out with no shirt on. So I had like crumbs all on my stomach. It was gross. So I got to vacuum this floor. Middle of the workout. But what did selfishness say the night before? I'm tired. I'm going to sit down. If I just gave myself some actual self-love, you know what I'm saying? But the idol that we look at is how we bounce back and forth. And it does. It images us in its godlessness. And we become more and more selfish. We become more and more conditional in the love that we give. Because these things legitimately are not God. We're not receiving that from those things. And so we can't give those things either. That's crazy. That's super tight. I don't know how many background changes that was. Oh, let's do it. Bottom of the page, page 93. To worship an idol, the exclusive worship reserved for God and God alone is given to an unworthy thing. And to the sometimes surprise of the idol's lover, what they get in exchange isn't the peace they bargained for, but the judgment they've stored up for themselves instead. She coming for heads in this chapter. What they get in exchange isn't the peace that they bargained for, but the judgment they've stored up for themselves instead. So going back to our literal example, because Rafer didn't take the time to just vacuum the floor because it just take 4 minutes. I stored up crumbs on my belly and my back the next morning. Simple story, right? Kind of ridiculous. Like just vacuum. But even on a small, tiny scale, God is like, this is the truth. You sweaty, and now they sticking to you. That's gross. You don't know if that's chips. You don't know if it's popcorn. You don't know if it's cheese. You ever had cheese stuck to your back? You don't even know? Yeah, it's gross. But I stored up judgment for myself because I thought I was gaining peace the night before. I thought I was exchanging for peace. And instead, I stored up judgment in the form of crumbs on my skin. Like I use such ridiculous examples because I wanted to legitimately, I wanted to hit. That makes sense? Because we do this with people. We do this with things. You ever ever go to somebody's house and they're like the clean freak? And if you are the clean freak, I am so sorry, but I'm about to put you on blast right now. But the clean freak person, don't raise your hand if that's you. Don't raise your hand. Don't listen if this is you. But the clean freak person, what are they trying to do? The idol is keeping this clean. Because if I can keep it clean, what? I'm going to get peace. It's going to help me out. Don't nod your head, Zoe. Everybody going to know it's you. It's going to bring me peace, right? It's going to take care of me. A clean house is going to take care of me, right? If you got kids, guess what? No chance. You can't even think about having a clean house. You know how many times I literally picked up toys and Trey came by and was like, I literally just picked that up. Not that he played with it, literally, he just walked by, hit it, and just walked away. You just gonna take that and put it in the middle? He did tell me one time, Dad, I can see all my toys better that way. Well, I guess logic makes sense. But if the idol is the clean home, because in the clean home, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z, I am just storing up stress for myself. Right? The judgment comes in the form of no peace. The judgment comes in the form of, I cannot rest. The judgment comes in the form of, I can't sleep well. Like, it's just too much in my brain because I need this as my peace. In this friendship, I am going to get this. I'm going to get X, Y, and Z. But because I am giving so much to this, I am storing disappointment for myself. It's coming. If I put so much hope in me and Eric's friendship, at some point he's going to do something that I don't like. You want to know why? Because he's not perfect and he can't read my mind. But I am storing up judgment for myself because I'm giving this thing more than it deserves in what I think I am exchanging for peace. If this can just happen just like this, then boom, we good. And when it doesn't, here comes the judgment that I've stored up for myself. And when it does, again, we sit there going, Jesus, where did you go? Why did you do this to me? Well, that's why I stopped going to church, because I just don't pray no more. We flip it back on him as if he made the decision. Like, he gave us the idea, hey, trust in this with all your heart because it's not me. That's crazy. Anyway, all right. Let's see what's next. Oh, yes. Idol worship surely leads to futility of thought and the darkening of the mind's ability to understand. But I am thankful that we are not completely left to ourselves to find out if an idol can be what we've asked of it. There are enough passages that have done that work for us, as we've seen. The work of telling us the truth that we need a resurrection to believe. Idols are never praised for granting wishes. No matter how many candles we blow, fingers we twist, or stars we converse with, an idol will never be able to give us what we truly need. And this is why the scriptures have told us over and over again how they do not profit. That first sentence, idol worship surely leads to futility of thought and the darkening of the mind's ability to understand. Yeesh. You cannot even see clearly. I cannot see clearly if my hope is built on something other than God himself. I cannot see clearly. I can't even see when someone else points out, yo, I don't think that that's what happened. I don't think that's what they, are you sure that's what they said? Were they having a bad day? I lose my ability to comprehend and understand because I am so bent on somebody else or something else giving me something that it cannot give me. That's crazy. I can't even see that I'm lost. Could you imagine being blindfolded and you're like, no, I'm good. I can drive. Yeah. Y'all should see the look Eric just gave me. His eyes got so big. No, it's cool. It's like literally the drunk person at the party and they're like, I'm good. I can drive. And you're like, It's like, you should not be more confident. You are absolutely trashed right now. No, you should sleep on my couch. Better yet, just sleep in the bathtub just in case. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we look like. It's okay, guy. I got this. I got it. You are literally wasted right now on the hope that this thing is going to give you something that it cannot. That's crazy. All right. Every idol is a created thing. Okay, page 95. I got another bracket. and a whole paragraph that I highlighted. Knowing how idolatry functioned in history may lead us to believe that it doesn't exist now. Baal may have died along with the folks that gave him life, but that primitive form of idolatry has in fact been transferred to us by way of our nature and evolved into another, less obvious version of the same. What might have been Baal once, what might have been Baal once is now sexual identity, sex, autonomy, intellect, relationships, money, marriage, legalism, politics, power, ethnicity, food, social media, children, or whatever other made thing you can think of. We take what God called good and remove a letter, give it ultimate status in our lives, and hope with all of our hearts that it will be the deity that we've baptized it as. How many people, when she gave that list, you were like, yeesh. Do okay. Do I have an idol there? Yes. Yes. Right. They are. Food is delicious. Hmm. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Can you stop? Hmm. And that's how you know. Because again, like, I mean, and I love that she paints this picture. Most of these things are good things. Nobody will ever look at you and say, oh, don't spend more time with your family. Nobody would ever say that. Unless your family is like toxic and got a reality TV show, like you good. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, don't go to work. Don't work anymore. Don't do it. No. Nobody's gonna tell you, hey, you should not have any money. Mm-mm. You should not. Don't. Because what they follow that up with, money is the root of all evil, was the love of money, which makes money the idol. These are good things. But when money becomes it, and legitimately, I've had to talk to Jesus about this. Because those who follow me on Instagram know your boy is about getting his money. And not because of the money, I just don't want to have a job anymore. I want to retire at 45. Yeah, yeah, passive income, baby. Passive income. But I've had to ask Jesus, Lord, is this becoming something that I want more than you? Is this now what I am chasing more than I am chasing you? Is my relationship with my money more to me than you are to me? I've had to legitimately ask him that. Most of the time, he's like, yeah, we're fine. I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you. That's what's up. Like, I really just want to retire, Jesus. I really don't care about the money. Like, I just don't want to work. But all of these things are good things. All of them are. I mean, most of them are. And I love that she said it. We take what God called good and remove a letter, give it ultimate status in our lives, and hope with all of our hearts it will be the deity that we've baptized it as. And that's the piece. We hope that it will be the deity that we baptized it as. I hope that my marriage will bring any and every single thing that I am looking for to fulfill me as a person. I am hoping that my children will bring any and everything that I need to validate me as a person. This money, this money is going to save me from work, you know. But more than just work, because now I can actually go do the things that Jesus wants me to do and I don't have a schedule anymore. Thank you. But if the money is what's going to make me, okay, now I got a problem here. Legalism, sexual identity, autonomy, intellect, power, ethnicity, yeesh. Ethnicity. There are so many people. And I was actually just saying the whole, just all of it, where politics and social justice and all the things lines cross. I go, I am thankful that I, one, have Jesus. I'm very thankful that I have a white wife and white in-laws. I'm very thankful that my dad is a cop. I'm very thankful that I am an Air Force vet. And I'm very thankful that I'm a pastor. Because legitimately, take any one of those things away, and now I can make any one of those things the idol. I can base my whole identity off of this. Replace Jenny with a black lady, and now we can be black is what it is. So now I sit here with a mostly non-black congregation telling them what they need to do with Jesus according to my blackness. Because that is where my identity lies. That's where I can get on my high horse, because this is the thing. We talking black and cops and all the things, like if I wasn't black and it was just the side of my dad's a cop, I get on my high horse, because this is the thing that makes us who we are. And I go, but if I just have Jesus, that very easily turns into religion and legalism. Because again, good things. I can sit here, if you change any one of those things, Jesus put me in a literal corner and said, yo, you have no choice but to actually choose me for real. You can't take any of these things and baptize them as the thing that will save you. And we do. And we wonder over and over again, why do our lives feel so crazy? Because I'm taking good made things and making them something that they are not, and giving them something that they will not ever give me in return. That's crazy. This is where legitimately we get so messed up and confused when it comes to what we prefer. This is part of me. This is who I am. So God has to accept that. Not true. Not true. I used to say, like, oh yeah, I don't like doing stuff. God made me like this. That's his fault, you know? But that's just in my nature. It's just selfishness. God didn't make me selfish. God made me to depend on him for unconditional giving and self-sacrifice. That's what he did make me for, literally, because that's who he is, and I'm made in his image. So I have to trust the foundation that he is to now give those things. But we take the things that we like, we take the things that we are, and we make them, this is who I am. I am the God of the universe. You got to sit down and talk to me. You got to do this for me. I run this show. That's crazy. That's super crazy. Okay. Dang, we got a lot. Top of 96. She says, she's talking about Jesus, God, um, everything we want that is everything that we're looking for is in him. And at the top of 96, she says, in him is life, and ain't we all needy of it? Of him, not only for salvation, but also satisfaction. Idols function as a kind of savior, a manufactured Messiah made to fill the empty parts within. But if a made thing didn't make you, then it surely can't make you whole. Watch and pray that your hope doesn't look to the high places as rescue. Instead, look to the hills from where your holy help comes, for any other hope is an unholy one. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. I kind of feel bad for everybody who showed up this like your first week. You're like, never mind, I'm not reading this book. Nope, I don't need to. It's cool. I'll sit down. I'll read something else. You got another book? You got another book? This one is scary. Oh, she says, remember that after creating the golden calf, they wanted the calf to lead them in the way they should go. A holy hope to have indeed, but a foolish one to place on a piece of art that can't move nor navigate itself, let alone a community of people. We've trusted our idols to be holy in that way too, of course, to do what only an uncreated, independent being can do. The problem is that with anything that has a beginning, it's automatically limited in what it has to offer. That was just a bracket that I put. Dang. 98. I guess mostly about a quarter of the way down, maybe a third. She says, by faith, prompted by blindness and utter delusion, all those who worship idols trust them to be the opposite of what they really are, lifting their eyes to the things that have been made, from whence cometh their hell. Idol lovers trade what is true about God in exchange for a lie. As it happens, what remains true about God is not believed, and the essence and attributes of the Creator, holy transcendence and moral purity, are eventually projected onto the creation. Completely blind to reality, we reckon the idol as valuable, God as invaluable, the idol as useful, God as useless, the idol as Messiah, God as foe. For what other reason do we choose anything over God if it isn't because we think it and not Him can give us what we need? How often have we looked to the creature and called it Savior without words but by faith? For every empty bottle of wine drunk to the dregs without self control's restraint, there is the proof of a soul wanting to find peace in something that doesn't have it to give. Yeesh. This, and again, I share the pastor thoughts with you guys. Because I don't think it's fair that I'm the only one that gets the vantage point of like seeing everybody and talking to everybody. But like what she says is true. Legitimately, all of us, when we do trade, we see God as useless. We wouldn't say that out loud, but we do. We see him as like he can't or won't or will not do. And we're like, this will. And that's what I'm fighting for. And again, in Christianity, what we've told people is, well, that's not right. You should trust Jesus. Stop sinning. Stop doing, like, we just kind of like yell at people. But it's like, in essence, if we just talked about the God who is holy, the God who is loving, the God who is kind, the God who wants nothing less than the best for you. And the crazy part is, the things that we've trusted continually let us down, and we keep going back to them like it's going to change. I knew a change happened to me when I started talking to people and my heart would just break. My heart would just break for people. I don't even get mad. Oh, you're not going to read the book? Okay, cool. That's between you and Jesus. Most of y'all are here. When I got the text, they were not coming to the church no more. Oh, it hurts. It stings for sure. But again, that's between you and Jesus. I've literally had people tell me to my face, you guys have gotten the closest to cracking the code of what church should be. But, and that's why we won't come back. To my face, not in text message, to my face. You guys almost did it. And to walk away from that conversation and be able to go, Jesus, this is what people are missing. They had their hopes set on the body. They had their hopes set on people. They had their hopes set on this, not you. That's crazy. To my face, I've had people legitimately say, well, the way the Bible was written, that's all they had. So they didn't know. And I'm sitting there going, well, if that's the case, then why would you even read it? Why would you read it in general if they didn't know? So they know some stuff, but they don't know everything? Is it not God inspired? Did God not institute this and this and this and this? Did God not say that first? And to have these conversations with people, literally, people are dying legitimately. And my heart, a lot of the time, is so heavy for people who not miss it because what I want them to get, but are just missing that God is the best thing that they will ever have. I will always tell y'all that. I'm not here because I need you to validate me. I'm here because I'm going to be obedient. I'm here because I just have a job to present Jesus to any and everybody every single week in this situation. But literally, man, people will look at you dead in your face and tell you, without telling you, that what they serve is actually more to them, means more to them than God himself. You don't have to tell people that. You don't have to say, hey, just so you know, you got some idols in your heart. No. If you just present Jesus long enough, and I go, not saying that you got to give people sermons at work every day. No. You just love people well enough, they will automatically just start pushing back. You just do what you need to do with Jesus, and people will naturally just show you where their idols are. The couple that I work with, I tell y'all, he is anti-theist. She is atheist. So he he can't even make a joke. He won't even laugh. I'm like, yo, Christians are crazy, which we all know and understand, you know? I'm like, Christians are crazy people, man. Relax. He won't even laugh. I'm like, yeesh, okay. But guess who is trusting humanity to do? They are. But guess who complains about humanity all the time? They do. Oh man, Rafer, they call it the Rafer hat. Yeah, we just put on the Rafer hat. We're just gonna relax and have a good time. I'm like, yeah, because Jesus does things. Oh, I'm not religious. I didn't say you had to be. I was just saying, like, you get to say what you feel. So I just thought I had that. I guess I don't have that room. But people will tell you and show you where their idols are all the time, every time. If you just live and operate in God the Father, the idols are going to show up. Your own first. If you really like, yo, I'm doing this with Jesus, the idols are going to present themselves and you will have a choice to make every single moment of every single day. Am I going to choose this idol and what I want to do and serve it and myself while storing up judgment? Or am I actually just going to be how God imaged me to be? And that's the question we don't pose on a Sunday morning. We just give the option number one. Hey guys, when you get in a relationship with Jesus, he is going to refine you in the fire. You ever see when they put the precious metals in and it gets hot, all the impurities come to the top and they scoop them off. That's what God is going to do for you. Right? Well, am I a ring? Like, is there a next part to that? Nope. You just get to be in the fire. Impurities just come up and God's going to scoop them off right off the top. And then we walk out feeling like crap because it's like, okay, well, I guess going into the gauntlet this week, Jesus, go Jesus. Let's go, Jesus, into the fire. And then we're confused. Is God actually wanting good for me? Because what's presented is no. God is expecting this and this and this. No, he just wants you. He just wants relationship. Because he's going to deal with you way better than I deal with my son when he walks by and knocks the thing over. God knows kids are going to be crazy at church. There's a whole playground over there. You think Jesus is tripping because the kids are loud? No. We are, because we have the idol of church. All of us here are like, no, you must be quiet. You must reverence the Lord. They kids. They ain't got reverence for nothing. Tell a kid they got to be quiet during prayer. Why? That's the loud response you're going to get during prayer. Why do I have to be quiet when we're praying? It's like, stop. But that's because we have this expectation. And God just wants us. Where you are, how you are, the things naturally are going to be gone as you live in this relationship. For every married couple here, we all know and understand, I am not the person now that I was when I got married. I say it all the time, and Jenny will tell you, I am not the most empathetic person, but I am way more empathetic than I was when we got married. And legitimately, that is because of the relationship. That's just because of the relationship. Naturally, you are going to become like the person that you spend your time with. You want to know how I know when people have been spending time with me? When they start saying yeesh. I say it all the time. I'll post something in my story, just put yeesh in big words. So when somebody says yeesh back to me, I'm like, dang, we spending time together. That's tight. But it's the same. It's the same. The more time you spend with God, naturally, the more you're going to want to be like self-sacrificing. the more you're going to want to just give, the more you're going to want to have unconditional love, the more your heart will hurt for people when they do you wrong, more than your feelings will be hurt when they do you wrong. It's crazy. The more time that you just give to the Father who is going to satisfy you on levels that an Oreo will never be able to satisfy you. Anybody ever have like a surprise Oreo? You walk into work, you're like, dang, this cookie's here? Okay. You know, like surprise donuts, those are my favorite. You walk in, you're like, it's donuts? Yes! Jesus is so much better than surprise donuts. Surprise donuts, yeesh. Sometimes when I get off the elevator at my job to go see my homeboy, there's this little like cubicle, and sometimes they do donuts and development. And when I walk by, I'll be like, oh, like, what are we developing, guys? What are we developing? Because I'm here for development, you know? Is it glaze in there too, you know? I'm like, yeah, I'm active duty. I'm like, you got 18 braids in your hair, dog. Sit down. Like, do we have what I am developing? I'm a photographer. I have a dark room. I'm developing. Can I have a donut? Just be lying. I don't know how we got there. I don't know how we leave there either. Oh, Jesus is better than that. Jesus is better than that. I was gonna say nobody wants like surprise vegetables. It's like you walked in, it was a like veggie tray. You'd be like, nobody's like, oh, broccoli. Like, no, you're like, yeah, you're like, oh, okay, you know. But you're not like, oh, okay, yeah, I have a carrot, you know. Surprise donuts. Anyway. Yeesh. Bottom of 101, these will be the last couple things we cover. As Stephen Charnock would put it, no man can possibly form a notion of God in his mind and yet form a notion of something better than God. For whoever thinks anything better than God fancieth a God with some defect. By how much the better he thinks that thing to be, by so much the more imperfect he makes God in his thoughts. The thing that I make better than God is the more defects it has. And the more defects it has, the more imperfect my idea of God is. That makes sense? So it's the thing of the more I am chasing this thing to be all that I think it should be, the less I'm actually going to trust God. It's how I just said, like we continuously like trust the things that are not going to give us all that we need. We continuously trust the things that let us down. But because we continue to trust those things, we actually trust God less. Because now we just keep putting all these things on him. That makes sense? So everything that I say goes wrong, again, who I'm sitting at the center of that. Everything that I think is going wrong, where I put my hope, where I put my trust, where I put my belief, when those things let me down, it's God's fault. It's not my fault. It's God's fault. We go right back to Adam and Eve in the garden. God shows up. Adam, what happened? She ate the apple, the woman you gave me. He went into self-protect mode. And she was like, the serpent did it. She went into self-protect mode. Satan was like, yeah, it was me. He already knew what's happening to him. And that's where we live. Trusting in something, trying to self-protect when we don't have to self anything except just believe and trust. She says, think about it on the end of 103, end of the chapter. Think about it. If all you have is idols and nothing more, you'd have nothing at all. If all you have is Christ and nothing else, you have everything. Who needs a golden calf when you can have the living God? Who needs a golden calf when you have the living God? That's good. Any comments before we go into the holy place?
So this week, I actually just, so last week my chapter was covered in notes, and this week I just read it. I was actually like, I think reflectively reading, like I have been in the past. And actually, my prayer last week at the end of our service was that I tend to be someone who like, I need to be hit in the face with it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I was trying to say. Sometimes I don't know. Anyways, all I have to say is one of my thoughts last week was that this coming week that God would show me like my idols, because we were talking this week. We're just completely unaware of what we need to be right. Some of us have no idea what we are worshiping as a lesser glory in God. And so, one of my questions at the end of the chapter last week, I wrote down when we were in service, was that God would literally show me, and I honestly, I was being honest with you guys, I literally said, can you like legit make it look like an idol? So like if I am honing in on something, like can you literally like make me feel like I see a golden bunny? Or like, you know, because I was like, I really like, obviously, I'm unaware of what I'm worshiping other than you. And, you know, I want those things to be made known in my life. And so I was like, I mean, like, I literally asked God, I was like, I straight up need you to make it look like an idol. I need to like in my dreams, or I need to see it like, you know, no questions, so that I can address those pieces in my life and I can repent, give them over to you. And so all week I actually haven't seen any idols, but I find myself last night flat on my face. And so this morning, in looking back, I was talking to Danielle before service, I looked back at my week, and now I see the things that I literally, it's crazy, literally sitting here, and my book had nothing written this week. And then we got up to page 94, and it just, like, the Holy Spirit just showed me. And I saw the glimpse back at my week, and I saw all these little golden bunnies in interactions with you, with my kids, in my life. And I saw these little bunnies, and I'm like, oh, whoa. So all week, I just jumped over them, because I actually didn't want to address what an idol realistically looks like in my life. So I found myself today literally flat on my face. Like this morning, just literally like, you know, that you fall or you trip on something and you're like, what just happened? And you get up and you're like, I didn't even see that curve there, you know, or I didn't see this or that. For those who are more agile, you may not understand what that looks like, okay? But for us close people,
We have. Everybody makes a sound. Ooh.
Yeah,
You look around.
and you feel it, you're like, you get up and your whole arm is like,
Yeah.
and you're like, what in the world just happened? So I found myself there this morning, and you know, like the dust is like literally you've kicked up dust, and you're like, how did I fall? The wind is knocking out of me, and I just literally, during service, I looked back at my week, and I realized I tripped because I've literally been jumping over, dealing with what I made an idol. And I asked God specifically, I was like, you gotta show me, you gonna show me this week, and all week I have not wanted to address the sin in my life when it comes to like certain things. And I'm just like, whoa, it actually really how quick it is to, in certain those certain situations, how quick it is to make your your idol. You know, for example, like throughout the week, I think about, okay, how many times have I used my items or lose my patience with my children? She's five. It's okay. You know, kind of things like they're going to be 5-year-old things, but still in those moments I held on to that through my day, whether it was that or a discussion me and my husband had, and we're like, why does my day ruin? Why do I feel this way? Because I was relying on him. I was relying on that conversation with my child to listen to me. Whereas if you don't, those things you don't realize that in those situations, I just remember to take a step back where, you know, find where your control is in all of those things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it showed you, and it was still so easy to ignore where that is coming from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And really the Holy Spirit is like, are you sure you want to address these things? Because even when I said, oh, sure, no, God, I don't do this, yes. And then I was like, you know, you know, like literally, and then I'm like, okay,
Impressive.
my legs are tired from jumping so much, I had literally fallen on my face. And, you know, yeah, yeah, so that's just kind of where I'm at right now. And I literally didn't make any notes until we hit the page where I'm like, I finally woke up from my fall from this morning, and I was just like, oh my gosh, wow, this is what it looks like in my life, you know. And, you know, one of those things is like, you know, expectations of every day being perfect. And literally the moment it's not perfect, I lose it. And I don't think straight, literally, and I'm like, oh, so like I literally worship a perfect life.
Yeah.
So pray for me.
Anybody else?
I know it's kind of weird, but that's what I thought, even, you know, I was talking to Jimmy and I said, you know, just alone, Deanna has 2 softball teams in the coaching and 2 basketball teams in the coaching. And we started talking about Iowa's, and I'm thinking, like, they come to the church and so long, every week it's basketball, and you, like, the times that I'm seeing her home with her, and when she falls asleep, you know, I'm thinking, like, what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, my kids, like, he told me the other day, I don't see, like, I don't even know what's going on, when it's going on, or like, who has what today, like, how do you do all this? And I'm like, we take care of 6 kids, you know, Elijah has AAU basketball, Dion has basketball, Deanna has 2 softball leagues, Dion has 2 started 5 football. He said, like, all of our kids do this track, and I'm like, you know, when I talk about these idols, automatically I was like, hey, I don't even sit down and read, you know, a book or Bible or things like do church at all because I'm so busy and thinking like I'm doing a good job as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I wake up, I think, okay, we have this, this, and this to me, doctor's appointments. I'm getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever she asked me, or I told her about alone, we coaching her 14s, and then we started talking about these idols. And I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
Right.
You know, but then they sit here and look at this, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It is.
sit here and think that, you know,
Good things. This is good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, my dad was here and said, the idol of the,
Yeah.
like, just good, being
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, we're going to go into the holy place. Spend some time with Jesus. And then I got an announcement about next week. Peace out, YouTube.